first guest, a cosplayer by the name of Sheena Bot Cosplay. She's with me right now. How's it going?
Great, Kenny.
Thank you so much for
What's going on?
good, good. Thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So let's go ahead and get into it. What made you decide to be a cosplayer?
Okay, so funny enough, it was an anime by the name of Chobits, and there was a character in it named Chi who just had these amazing dresses, and it actually inspired me to go into fashion design in college, and from there, my nerdiness just grew, and I was like, wow, I really love this Lolita fashion. I really love anime styling. I really love JRPGs. And as I got older, I found a friend who also was into this stuff. Her name's Rachel, and without her pushing me, I probably would have never stuck in the hobby because bullies are bad. But I'm really glad that I did, and she really helped me to be confident, and I helped her create costumes. I still make her costumes 10 years later.
What was the very first costume that you wore that got you started into cosplaying?
When I was about 14 years old, there was a video game that I picked up called Xenogears, and it's a JRPG that was released in 1998. One of the main characters, her name was Ellie, and I painstakingly hand-sewed a costume together similar to hers. I can't say it was great because I had no idea on how to do any armor stuff, and there was some armor stuff in her cosplay. There's a picture somewhere before the digital age in my photo albums that I'll have to find and send to you so you can look at it and be like, wow. And that's not in a good way. But everybody creates something their first time and then improves as they go on. So I definitely recommend don't giving up, like never giving up. And that was my very first baby, was my hand-sewn Ellie from Xenogears.
I definitely like that. That's definitely a good way to start. And I'm a fan of cosplaying for so many years. I go to comic conventions. I don't dress up myself, but I like seeing what other people are wearing, what's the biggest trend, if you will, and just going around seeing what's going on. And cosplaying, it's fun for so many people. I've known some cosplayers for several years, and for what they told me, it's something that they love and passionate, and it's just part of what they are, and people embrace that, and I think it's a good look for people like yourself that's into characters, into video game characters, comic characters, movie characters, and bringing them to life. And you dress up because we all like something. We all inspired something. So I say kudos to all the cosplayers. Those that have the good intentions, of course, and enjoy doing what they do. So we talk costumes, we talk fashion design. As far as conventions, like, how would you describe your experience just going to conventions as a cosplayer, whether you are a guest or the contest stuff, and how would you describe your experience going to conventions as a cosplayer?
I've actually been on like all sides of that. I've been a guest. I've been a guest judge. I've been kind of like a panelist, and I've also just gone for fun. And of course, I think every cosplayer starts out going for fun and just testing the waters. Luckily, I've had almost all positive experiences in my cosplays. Like, even whenever I wasn't feeling confident about something I made, I would always have somebody that would recognize who I was walk up to me and say, oh my gosh, you look fabulous. And I try to do the same thing. If I recognize somebody's costume, I have to stop them. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me get a photo with you. You look freaking awesome. And I think that the best feeling ever is if you're walking around and you're not feeling really good in your own, costume. If something's just not right, you're like, oh man, I was trying to go for this kind of look and I didn't get it. If a kid sees you and recognizes who you are, and they say your character. For example, I was dressed as Raven a couple of years ago, and I was like, man, I'm really hoping that this looks okay. I didn't paint myself gray, but I'm pale. Hopefully this works, kind of laughing about that. It doesn't really matter. if you paint yourself, it doesn't matter like what skin tone you are, a kid will recognize you. You don't have to necessarily be any specific size, because sometimes people are like, oh, that character's really short and you're pretty tall. Doesn't matter. Dress as whoever your favorite is. Dress as whoever you want to portray and who you want to, like really just be. And it doesn't matter if you're that gender. It doesn't matter if you're that size. It doesn't matter if you're that color. Just do it. You don't have to have, the exact build of Thor to dress as Thor. You can do whatever you want in cosplay, and that's why I love it so much. And I think that in most conventions, I've been very fortunate to have people recognize me and be kind to me, and I've been trying my best to get more people into the hobby just by talking about it and writing about it and telling them about my experiences of it as, just different characters.
I'm guilty as charged. I am one of those people that goes to conventions and see someone, oh my goodness, look at you. I gotta get a picture with you. I'm guilty of that. That's just, and what I love about conventions, whether it's comic, whether it's anime, is that people have similar tastes in the direction of these conventions, and just go out there and have fun and chat and mingle and quite possibly network, and that's a good feeling. And I was at Lexington Comic Con this past March, and I had a good time at that convention. I love going to Lexington Comic Con. They do a great job bringing like a variety of guests, from Power Rangers to wrestlers and things like that. They just do a great job at that. So now for you, what are some of your favorite conventions that you like attending to?
This was actually my first year for Lexington Comic and Toy Con, and it was by far one of my favorites. As you said, the guests, they were insane. Like, they had so many different options. Matt Mercer was there. John Barrowman was there. I mean, Power Rangers, like half the Power Rangers cast was there, and even some of the originals from overseas were there. It was just amazing, and all the celebrities and all the guests that were there were just so welcoming and kind. Like, I think I was the last person to see John Barrowman on Sunday, and he was so tired. And I looked at him and I said, thank you so much for putting up with us crazy fans on occasion. And he laughed. He was like, you are not crazy. And he just smiled so big, and he was just so tired, but he was so kind and just awesome. And another convention I really like, if you're in the anime, it's called Otakon. It's pretty big. It was in Baltimore, but recently moved to Washington, D.C. I'm really hoping to go to that one again. I've been going since 2014. There's a couple of local conventions that I like a lot. I'm going to be going to Three Rivers Con. It's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It happens actually, I think, May 19th. And they've got some pretty good guests. I mean, they're going to have Amy Chu. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she's a comic book writer. She did Poison Ivy's Cycle of Life and Death. She's working on Deja Force right now. She previously worked on Red Sonja. And as my friend would say, she's pretty awesome at making this character that's not so well known evolve into this just amazing warrior. Another convention I really like is like really small one in Morgantown. It's not super small. It's grown quite a bit. Like, I think they had 4,000 guests last year, but it's called PopCon. And they do really good at getting different vendors in. So if you're having issues finding a comic book, they can pretty much set you up. I'd say those are probably my top ones.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely familiar with her. So that's pretty awesome that convention is able to get her. That's truly amazing. There's something else I wanted to talk to you about. You, not only are you a cosplayer, but you write comic reviews. Talk about that real quick. And what type of comics do you do? Is it DC, Marvel, or all the above? Like, what type of comics do you review on?
I do all of the publishing companies, basically anything I can get my hands on that I have an interest with. I'm currently doing Deja Force, as previously mentioned by Amy Chu. I'm I've done a lot of Harley Quinn in the past because her character's just evolved so much in the comics. Another title I'm doing, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, it's called Rat Queens. It's published by Image, and it's kind of basically like what would happen if you played D&D and you were actually sucked into the D&D world. It's pretty awesome. The biggest ones I've done, like the big ones, are probably Harley Quinn and Supergirl through DC. But I basically just try to choose comics that I think will have a strong character, and I always go for chicks because growing up and being around boys and being into boy hobbies, I always wanted to have a strong female lead to look up to. So I think I tend to gravitate towards those kind of characters. But I think everyone needs a hero. So I try my best to kind of choose these off-the-wall ones. Like the strangest one that I think I'm reviewing right now is by Young Animals imprint of DC, and it's called Eternity Girl. And her story is basically that she's this all-powerful being, and she wants to die. And it kind of battles how people deal with depression, and how a person that is this just all-powerful being is dealing with it. And it's like, it just is eye-opening. And I think for people to read it that have never dealt with depression or that kind of a thing is even better, because it kind of brings insight into that whole view of the world and like how these people that are dealing with this issue are processing everything. And I think it kind of helps bridge a gap between that kind of a thing. But that's pretty much all the titles I'm doing right now, like anything that interests me. And sometimes people will message me and be like, hey, can you check out my comic? And I'm like, if I like it enough, I'll be like, hey, can I review this? So that's pretty much how that goes.
So before I let you go, where can people go to check out the reviews that you're doing, and also go and promote your social media feeds, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and also where people can check out your comic reviews?
Okay, so my comic book reviews are on this really awesome webpage called thepopbreak.com, THEPOPBREAK.com. I'm not the only writer there. There are tons of writers. Basically anything that you can think of, comic book reviews, movie reviews, book reviews, they're all on there, music reviews. My social media, if you want to check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/Sheena Bot Cosplay. I'm on Twitter, Sheena Bot with a zero, B0T. And I'm also on Instagram as just Sheena Bot.
It was great chatting with you, Sheena. Thank you so much for your time, continued success, and hopefully I'll see you at a future convention. We were both there, but we didn't see each other, obviously. But hopefully, if you have the funds and everything, come back and we'll meet and get a picture or something. That would be cool.